the Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Blessings. Hit that like button.
I was lost, but now I'm found. I'm a child of Israel. I heard the sound. Do you hear the sound?
Hit that like button.
Please give me the strength to stand today. With my eyes towards the east, show me the way to Zion.
Hit that like button. We going to Zion.
Laying my life on the line.
I'm begging, please.
Please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, Lord, guide my path.
Show me the way to Zion.
I opened up the book.
Hit that like button, folks. Hit that like button.
That the apple of your eye included me. And through the tribulation, I know I must stand. For I knew
Hit that like button.
I knew earth showed me the way
To Zion. Oh.
I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line.
I'm begging, please. All right, let's pick it up a little bit.
Please don't let me fall. Give me
The strength.
Place my feet, guide my path. Show me the way to Zion.
Let's pick it up one more again. Sabbath, Shabbat Shalom. Hit that like button. Let's go. Where are we from? Jerusalem. The east is where we're from.
The 12 tribes of Israel.
What? Oh, it's going to be a great Sabbath, brothers and sisters. The Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With a great escape.
With a great escape we went
Through the Euphrates,
The Lord held the water still.
to a land where no mankind dwelt. We went. The 12 tribes of Israel. That's who we be. Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel.
From Panama, Cat, the North American Indians,
Simeon, our highest gathering Israel. The Arabs
and Africans told us,
at gunpoint.
together our wives and children that sold us.
That's right. In the belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. A higher gatherers. Oh,
Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans.
from the power on high.
Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians.
The highest gathering Israel. Oh. That's right, the Most High's gathering Israel. We're the elders of the gathering of Christ Church, and as you can all see, yes, this Sabbath is a blessing. Guess what, brothers and sisters? All praises be to the Most High. We're feeling mighty good today on this Sabbath. And we hope to extend the spirit of this class and hope you receive it in the spirit the Lord have blessed us to teach it. I'm Elder Ricard Yar along with Elder Lawyer for the Sabbath lesson. And before going in, brothers and sisters, we were downtown yesterday speaking. A matter of fact, you can find that live on Patreon, patreon.com/agathering144. And yes, we were there for about 2.5 hours. It took us about an hour to set up, but the response was great. Great support out there. The brothers and sisters were out there. The sisters was out there giving out gift bags and food. We do food for the homeless and those who want nourishment. But above all, they receive the word of the Almighty. And I'm going to tell you, there was many people, right, that was interested in what we had to talk about through the Spirit of the Almighty. And what was surprising to me more so than anything, the number of Gentiles, especially white people, right, that was coming out of the offices, from the hospitals and all of that, how they would stop and just listen for a while. And you could see them shaking their head, wondering, how do these black people know this, right? But they were learning, though. We went into the vaccine. We went into the true intent behind it. We even talked about how Fauci, and this is why they're distracting people with the Nolan Wells story. Even though that's important, they need to get to the bottom of that. They wanted that running in circulation and inundation so that people can get what? Distracted from Fauci's testimony. A lot of people don't know Fauci would be under oath this week. So they're keeping everything else on the media spin for legacy media so that you don't understand what's happening with these questionings. And guess what? That's right. Fauci, the Jesuit, pleaded the fifth. It doesn't matter the questions. They was asking questions about masks. They was asking questions about the so-called leak, because a lot of us didn't know that they had a laboratory in Wuhan with the same what? With the same label as COVID. And and this is not alleged. Where they was actually dealing with that strain that they were talking about within the laboratory. Well, how did it get from Wuhan, China to us? And how is it that we don't see Chinese people in the hospital on ventilators if it was in Wuhan, but yet in North Philly, different parts of Harlem and black neighborhoods, Washington, D.C., they're separating us from our families? I thought if it was a Wuhan, China, and it came from China, that it would be a Chinese problem, right? When Chinese are walking around with prestige, they're walking around all healthy, they're multiplying, I'm seeing more of them. So was it a bait and switch? So folks, I talked about that yesterday, and so many people were listening. Even testimonies from people who took some of the stuff and how they were what they were diagnosed with and what they had to overcome, almost losing their lives. Okay? Testimonies, brothers coming up, sisters coming up. And folks, there was a lot of people across the street, because sometimes people don't want to be all up in the mix, right? Because they don't want to be filmed, whatever the case is. Mm-hmm. But I've been doing this for a long time, folks. I notice the people who go against the wall and the bus stops across the street, and they'll stay there, and the bus is still going past, and they're still there. So they're not there to get on the bus, right?
Right.
So they were, because sometimes, believe it or not, the acoustics are so good to be able to hear it clearer on the other side of the street. Another thing, brothers and sisters, we noticed, right? I noticed the changing of landscape and how the people have changed when it comes to Asians, East Indians. And we went into a lot of the spirit, a lot of the teachings concerning the spirit of the Asians bringing over their demonic Eastern religions into the United States. All of that was broken down and what it means for us. Folks, this is an attack on those who believe in Christ. And it doesn't matter if you are Israelite or Gentile who believe in Christ. You are deemed an enemy. Folks, I thank the Most High. Boy, do I feel energized. Man, we were out there. I prayed that the Most High move those clouds away. The sun hit and we were ready to rock. Long time, but I'll tell you, a lot of key information. We gave out a lot of flyers and a lot of souls are going to come to the church. It so happens that the Church of Philadelphia, we intentionally set it up on the outer skirts of the city. So if anything happens, people that are in the church can actually have a place to do what? Go until they get further direction. All right, that's number one. No, but we will. I'm working on it now. We will have a separate class and teachings within the borders of Philadelphia. Okay, I'm working on that now because sometimes people can't travel 40 minutes to an hour to get to the actual building for the church. So I'm going to serve, and when we get within the borders or parameters of Philadelphia, there's so many people who's listening in Philadelphia, there will be no standing room only. Oh, I know it. I seen the response of our people out there who've been waiting to hear this. And guess what? More so, you can see the looks on people's face when what? When you're speaking what everyone is thinking out loud, but is afraid to say it. And I think that's more so the reason people turn around and come around and listen, because not that we're saying something they don't know, but the fact that we're bold enough to say it, okay? And it's what they've been thinking the whole time, but have been shamed while being shamed into silence. Let me tell you, what a blessing it was to be out there on the streets, and we'll be seeing more of that. And unfortunately, we can't do this live on YouTube, but we found a way to be able to at least stream live on Patreon, our street preaching. Folks, we went into the true spirit of thugs, that they came from East India, a spirit that a military man who visited India. That's right, folks. And the spirit of the woman. Let me see here. Do I have it here? The spirit of the woman, Kelly, that they worship. When you hear about the artist Khalees, right? Everyone knew about Khalees, right? Well, that comes from Kelly. They began to fuse the East Indian gods, goddess, demons, and demonesses into the culture of our urban music. That's right, folks. They integrated those spirits into our music. thugs. I got it right here. Y'all can't see it. Thugs. Hold on. Let me turn the light down a little bit so y'all can see it. Hopefully that'll help there. Thugs. See that? From the 1800s. The Shrine of Ganesh, the place of the thugs, East India. The men would pillage, destroy, kill, scam. They doing the same thing today. This is where they get the saggy pants from, folks. Sagging the pants from the thugs. Urban culture, right? We was on the street with it, folks. They'll lure people out, and the gangs would kill the people and rob them. They have everyone believe that the thug culture, the robbing culture, all of that, they'll make you believe that came from us, folks. No. Our image was entirely different before these spirits were brought over here by Esau.
That's right.
Okay? We had a clean image, but you can't attack a clean image without losing moral high ground. So they brought in the thug spirit. They brought in the thug spirit. Depiction of thugs about to strangle a traveler. Somebody traveling into another neighborhood, right? And get got for going into the wrong neighborhood. All of that comes from a spirit, folks, that started in India. Oh, you think they're here to sell you donuts and coffee, huh? On top of that, the spirit Khalees or Kelly. Now, what is this spirit? This is a spirit that women pick up from the beauty shop, right? Kelly's. You notice it almost looked like a tranny right there, where there's a woman operating in the spirit of a man. The men do these are thug heads around her neck. The thugs who do anything for the woman. And once she have taken everything from the man, he's in jail or dead, and then she'll switch him out with another thug. See that? So if you look at the series Raising Canaan and see the main character, that woman who she cycle out men to be utilized for herself, but she's still standing, that's the spirit that 50 Cent is portraying here, knowing or without knowing it. She's still standing while all the men are dying, folks. It's the spirit of Khalees or Kelly, and they got that from India, folks. That's the spirit that are destroying us silently. It's an invisible spirit in the people. Man, they couldn't believe when I was dropping this on the street, but I wanted to introduce this because East Indians have been a secret weapon used against our people spiritually within the urban neighborhoods. Okay? And it's really an attack. It's really an attack on those who believe in Christ. That's what it's about. So yeah, it was great. It was great. And it's 1 o'clock, so let me go in real quick and let's talk about the lesson now, right? Let's go into the lesson. But before doing so, let me make an announcement real quick that we are in week 4, right?
Week 4, yes, sir.
Week 4 of your Hebrew and Bible Academy. Week 4, all right? Now, the theme here, the seed and the serpent is the theme, as you can see here. And what we'll be dealing with right now, this woman right here, the spirit of the harlot. We'll be going into the origin of the queen mother of Babylon, whom the Christian church is calling Mary today. The birth of Christ And the Mary story has nothing to do with Christ and Mary in the Bible. It started at what? It started at the tower. The Queen Mother of Heaven, and we're going to break this down, folks. These people don't believe in Christ. Speaking of the Vatican, who's pushing the virgin birth, and they don't believe in the true narrative of Mary. They're using Christ and Mary as a vehicle to push their what? Their homage to Semiramis, the queen goddess of Babylon. A matter of fact, these people hate Christ. They're building a construct to fight against Christ. So it's not just the religion, it's an ideology behind it. A science project to be utilized to open up portals to fight God, to fight Christ upon his arrival. So these people do not believe in Christ. They are Satanists. They are liars. So they lied on Christ and they lied on Mary to hide the true demoness they worship, which also go back to the spirit of Kelly's. And speaking of that, so what is the end game? Well, the end game is the same plan Satan had from the beginning. The end game is to kill the man. And that's why I'm going into this lesson today. Why is God's design for man and women under attack? Why? Well, we're going to talk about this today. Why is the design that God originally intended for man and woman, why is that under attack? And I noticed that everyone, some of the most talked about spaces on any social media platform is the man-woman dynamic today. Why can't we get along in all of that? And everyone is missing the big picture. And guess what? And a lot of them know better, but talk around it. Man and woman's design is under attack for a specific reason. And at the end of the day, men are between the crosshairs. And the reason why, because there cannot be any children, men or women, without the seed of man. That's the threat. It's the man that makes what? Sons and daughters. See? So we're going to talk about that today. Why is God's design for man and woman under attack? Right? So, but before we say that and go into that, because we're going to, believe it or not, this lesson is going to go right into the spirit we'll be talking about tomorrow. All right? Now, usually when we talk about these things, it's a pointing of the finger and all these other things. Nah. We're going to speak objectively according to God's design. And then everyone has to make a choice concerning what side they'll stand on when Christ returns, what side they'll be on when Christ returns. Now, we have time. The Lord have afforded us grace to choose a side. And at the end of the day, folks, it's about him. It's about the Most High. That's what it's about. And the fact that we'll be on the right side of judgment when his son returns. Okay? And that's what I'm laying out for everyone. Okay? And I'm going to ask everyone in the spirit of humility and love to take in the word of God today and apply it accordingly. All right? And that's the least you can do for yourself. All right? Now, again, if you want to join the academy, we'll let you in. Make sure you get all the lessons, news, everything involved within the packages. We'll make sure you get everything before tomorrow to catch up for week 4. All right? With that, let's go into the lesson. Elder Lawyer, if you can say the Shema real quick, we'll jump right in. historytimes.org. Let's go.
Shema Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahayanawa Ahaya Achad.
Shema Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahayanawa Ahaya Achad.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one God, and his name is Ahaya. Now, let's start off here. Where are we currently? And thank you for all the support, Rochelle and others I really appreciate it. Thank you for all you do. May the Most High bless you. All right, let's start here as to where we are in the earth right now prophetically. Because you know we have to keep you up to date. All right. What must we understand according to prophecy? How close are we to our Lord and Savior's return and the judgment of this world? Fair use. Let's listen.
So there are 5 scenarios in which the war could end because Trump is stupid enough to take on what Israel wanted to do, which was destroy Iran, but they've bitten off far more than they can chew. So scenario 1 is Iran destroys the Gulf power infrastructure. I think that's highly likely. And if that happens, then Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Dubai, they'll become uninhabitable. And then scenario 2, Iran disables Israel's nukes. I hope that happens, but there's this one. And it scares the shit out of me.
Fair use.
Professor Steve, I have so many questions. What is going on?
So this war is threatening everybody on the planet. And what Trump is doing at the moment is a pump and dump scheme. He's trying to drive up the oil price and exploiting it for his friends and for his own wealth in the process. So people are focusing upon the price of this. But the really important point is this is Strait of Hormuz. So oil, fertilizer, helium, all have to pass through the Strait of Hormuz.
And Iran have blocked that gap.
So they can say you do or do not pass, depending on what your country's attitude towards our country. So that's quite terrifying because 20 to 30% of our fertilizer comes through this point. But if this is not available, the globe has a famine.
Do you think he will send ground troops in?
Yes, I do, but I'd hate to be one of those troops because it's a suicide mission. They've got underground military units of weapons and troops, but we have no idea of the scale.
Trump keeps saying that the war has been won.
Yeah.
What's going on there in your view?
I think he's been fed propaganda to tell him that he's winning the war by his immediate advisors because you cannot tell a person like that they've made a mistake.
We'll talk about that as well, but you developed a bit of a reputation because you're very good at predicting things. So which of these 5 outcomes do you think is most probable to happen?
Oh, God. So there are 5 scenarios in which the war could end because Trump is stupid enough to take on what Israel wanted to do, which was destroy Iran, but they've bitten off far more than they can chew. So scenario 1 is Iran destroys the Gulf power infrastructure. I think that's highly likely. And if that happens, then Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Dubai, they'll become uninhabitable. And then scenario 2, Iran disables Israel's nukes. I hope that happens, but there's this one. And it scares the shit out of me.
Professor Steve, I have so many questions. What is going on?
So this war is threatening everybody on the planet. And what Trump is doing at the moment is a pump and dump scheme. He's trying to drive up the oil price and exploiting it for his friends and for his own wealth in the process. So people are focusing upon the price of this. But the really important point is this is Strait of Hormuz. So oil, fertilizer, helium, all have to pass through the Strait of Hormuz.
And Iran have blocked that.
Fertilizer and helium. Keep in mind, folks, the majority of, and I spoke about that yesterday, the majority of the fertilizer that have to come into bulk, in bulk, to fertilize a country of over 300 million, well, a large percentage of that goes through the Strait of Hormuz. Think about that. So without that coming through, you're talking about a famine. It's coming. It's coming. And I wanted to go into this so that people can understand and prioritize where they'll be when the government officials actually tell the people there's no food. And what will you do? Now, through the Spirit of the Almighty, by doing the ministry since early 2000s, into mid 2000s after the World Trade Center happened. Then the Most High put the Spirit on us, the path to the mark, to discuss to the earth everything we're witnessing right now. By that dedication, since the Most High have grown us in the Holy Spirit with nothing at all, He have blessed with resources so that we can at least sustain a lot of our people who are within the body. And that comes through perseverance, and that comes through study work non-stop, as we were called to do. Okay? And through that, the Most High brought the blessings with an understanding a famine is coming. All right? That's number one. They're not going to tell you until we're in it. But guess what? All the dominoes are lined up for it. All the dominoes are lined up for it. So at the end of the day, when it all come down, y'all going to know, you brothers and sisters going to know that we spoke of that moment through the Almighty, and that we warned people to prepare the best they could, even if you're not a part of the church. But you know what we're doing? We're preparing. We are preparing. And man, through the Spirit of the Almighty, I can't wait until Tabernacles. I can't wait, okay, to be able to share in with the families who have turned to Christ, who've been baptized. But really, I know, I can see it. Us camping out as it was commanded according to Leviticus 23 is also a preparation. Everyone is having fun coming together. We're praising the Most High. But our family, our people are learning how to live off the grid if need be. Okay? And this is why the tabernacles are so important. Even if we can spend a few days, some people can't be there the full 7 days, but come out 1 day, 2 days, find out, whatever you can. If you have to work, okay. But at least get in the mix to understand how we look out for each other during that week span. Think about it, folks. Everyone is feeding each other during the whole week. Okay? The Most High have blessed us where we have sheep. Hail the Lord here, raise chickens. We're working to barter with the Amish and all of these things so that we'll have some food in place when it all goes down. And it's important that you understand that even when the cameras are off, this church is working. It's expanding. It's going to as many people as we can to get baptized, to be on this side, the right side of judgment under Christ before the curtain comes down. Okay? That's what the work of Christ is all about. Okay? So when people interact with us on the street, and I heard somebody on the side, hey, where can I see you guys? Where can I find out where you guys are? I've never heard stuff like this before. Where y'all guys from? Right? Right? And I'm like, listen, this is where you can find us for now, until the Most High show us otherwise. And when he tell us it's time for us to make another move through the Holy Spirit, for those that are with us, hey, you'll know that the move must be made. But one thing is constant is what? The shepherds will be working. When Christ comes back, that's one thing you don't have to, that anyone in the earth have to worry about. We will be working when Christ returns. Okay? Since the ministry, since the 2000s, early 2000s, up until there was a YouTube, we were working. And through that, the Most High started gathering all the people who would be together in one spirit and love to help sustain each other through Jacob's trouble. And that's our view that the Most High have given us. We see the end game because we were here in the beginning. Okay, I wanted to emphasize that. Oh, thank you, Paulette. Thank all of you for your gifts. Thank you. May the Most High bless you. Now let's jump right in. let's jump right in now. Let's start off with the word image. Let's start there. Image. So we have to understand the design against the Most High's design of man and woman and how that's under attack by understanding image first, right? What do I mean by that? Usually the image that people cleave to set a standard of lifestyle, right? And through that lifestyle, man and woman aspire to do what? To fulfill the accepted image. Example. The image of an average white family, if you want to call it that, we know they're Edom. The image of the average white family in the early 1900s. Right? Now let's look at this for a second. Modest. Buttoned up. See? Clean. A clean image. Right? Cleanliness is holiness. So you got a clean cut image that man and woman aspired to. And if they operated outside of this image, the community would shame them. It wasn't about the money, folks. It wasn't about poor people. Poor whites were dressing like this in the 1900s. This is how they went to church. Right? So what we're seeing is the accepted image for success regardless of income. It's an image. Any woman who would operate, or any man that would operate outside of this image, were outcasts. The same period of time in the early 1900s, this was the actual image of the black family. Now, some would look back at this and say, well, hold up, man. This must have been the boule. This must have been the high earning Negro. Not at all, folks. These were the poor blacks. In the early 1900s, these were the regular poor blacks, folks. This is how they went to church. This is how we went to church. And guess what, folks? There wasn't any tailors and all these other things. When you see the dresses they had on, all of this stuff was tailor-made by our women. Don't forget, it was our women making the clothes for the earth during slavery, the United States during slavery. We were the seamstress. So that carried over during Reconstruction. Okay, so not only, I want y'all to see this, because I think we've forgotten who we are. And it's due to an image change. See? Imagine this, folks. What's more beautiful than what we're witnessing right now? See? I need y'all to look at this. So now the family has what? They have an image to uphold. And that if any of these children go outside of this parameter, this image that was given, they shame the family and the family's name, which is the true model for success, not income. See that? Now let's move it along. Now we're looking at a few decades later. Around the 50s and 60s, here is the model of the average white family. Right? The average white family. Look at the young girls. Look at the boys. Neatly dressed. Right? And another thing, it was custom for families to have family portraits. I remember back then that every so often, every few years or whatever the case is, that the mother and father, I remember growing up, I keep on saying Diamond Street, that we have to go to a photographer and take a family picture. It was a custom. And to put it into what? The photo album book. Or blow it up, a portrait, to have it painted and put it on a wall so that our children would have an image that they could aspire to. Right? Boom. 60s. The image of the black family. 50s and 60s. Image. You come to a cookout. You come to a family reunion. You come to one of our gatherings looking out of pocket, and guess what? Our balls would roll. Without our men and women saying anything, the shame of how someone is looking at you outright would do what? Chase that person out of the gathering. They would understand and know, according to this image, you are out of place. You are out of place. Right? The image, 50s, 60s. See, you can't outright attack a people looking like this without looking like dang fools from a world's view. Other countries will see you attacking people looking like this, and the whole world will align themselves with Judah. See that? What we're witnessing here, regardless of race, is God's design. Man, woman, family. Now, were there problems? Well, there's been problems since Adam and Eve. Was everything perfect? Of course not. The earth is cursed. Relationships have always been tenuous, stressful. They've always been odd sides on either side and conflict within relationships. But you know what? The image meant everything. The true model of success. Satan said, you know what? I need to attack that. Then we move into the 90s, the 2000s, right? And the white people were able to sustain an image, even though they're going down as to why they let the Ukrainians and other people come into the United States, because it was about birth rates. And now their birth rates are on the upswing, while our birth rates and marriage rates are in the toilet. Yeah, Trump got in position and said, okay, back in the kitchen, bring in AI and destroy all of the office jobs. Okay, we'll give the white women a soft cushion to come back. Okay, and we'll accept them as long as they're willing to have our children. So Trump he said he's going to make America great again. The first thing he said was, okay, women, we're cutting all your jobs and giving it to AI. You have to find a soft landing spot. All right? So they trying to bring the family back. But here is Here it is, the actual image. The actual image that the black family has been relegated to. And I'm doing this kindly. The black matriarchy. And what you need to look at, the image is saying 1,000 words. A man that had been relegated to the background. A woman in front of him. And if he don't act right, he's fading out of the picture. But look at the faces of the children. The black matriarchy. That means this guy right here is interchangeable. The new image of what Jacob was relegated to, from this as an image to this as an image. So now we have to go into it now. Now we have to go into it because this lesson, at the end of the day, folks, is going to be on how to be self-sufficient and make it through. But in order to do that first, one must understand the dynamic between man and woman. Because they're setting a society, a cultural dynamic where our people won't have any help to sustain ourselves from what is about to go down. So the social engineering of changing the dynamics of image, folks, was planned. How to disappear people without them realizing they're getting disappeared. And that comes down to the attack on God's design for man and woman. We can't talk about sustaining through a famine and not talk about the people who must what? Be sustained through it. See? So now let's talk about it, and thank you all for all your support. We love you. We appreciate you. Right? The attack on God's design. Right? Now, I prepared something before, and anything you have, Elder Lawyer, you can come in with it.
Yes, sir.
I prepared something before going into the lesson that's quite interesting, and I thought that I would just share it with you all. Right? This book right here is called Satanic Feminism, showing so-called Eve with the snake and the forbidden fruit. So I thought I would do something different. Instead of attacking it as something evil, even though it's saying satanic, we all know it's evil. I'm like, what is the perspective of feminists that make their message resonate with women? So I'm not going to go into it from, right, a straight dismissive angle or view. There must be something in this where women are attracted to what they would call feminist values. Right? And what I found, brothers and sisters, was quite interesting. And it made me look at this from a different angle. Right? And I'm going to only give you a piece of what I was able to extract without going into a whole, dissertation, okay? Let me put it here so that I'm going to read it off because I wrote it all earlier today. what some of this is delivering for our women. And sisters, I need you to tell us in the chat, or tell me if some of this strikes or is it right on, okay, to why women choose the feminist route. Okay, this is what I extracted from it in a nutshell. Under the feminist view, the current man, you know, they replace patriarchy because they're not saying man. The attack is against man. So they came together under the think tanks and called it patriarchy so that we wouldn't know that we're under attack as men, right? So you can say patriarchy to where I came from in North Philly to an average guy, and they'd be like, what the hell is that, right? Not knowing you're between the crosshairs, right? Under the feminist view, the current man, patriarchy, the current patriarchy model is unfair. According to the feminist view, the feminist view is that the patriarchy, or men, the dynamic of a man's society is unfair to them. Why? Because women must choose one man early in her peak years, in peak form, to submit to for the rest of her life, only to realize she wants more than that man. Listen. She wants more than what that man can provide. So it also shows that an idea of what a woman wants change every 10 years. Men are simple. They want a good woman. They want to eat. They want to go to work. They want their family. That's it. But a woman aspires to a greater idea of life as she grows older, that she would not have chosen in an older age. She would not have chosen, folks, that younger man that she feel now stole her good years. It's unfair. All right? So this is the feminist view that have women say, you know what? I can see what the feminists are talking about. Women must choose one man early in her peak years to submit to. That means she has to do everything he's saying and fall under his design according to God. For the rest of her life, only to realize that she wants more in her life once she gets older. So when she gets older, her expectations change with a man who's what? Satisfied with his current status because this is the man you met. Right? Now listen to this. Why should she stay stuck in an unfair deal? That's what the book is talking about. Why should women stay stuck in an unfair deal? Right? So you brothers, I know you don't like what's being said, but guess what? You have to accept the dynamics of why feminism is so tempting. Okay? Because from a worldly view, women has been given a raw deal, opposed to the man. And let's talk about the man now. And it highlights that in this book. When a man can grow through their mistakes early without being shamed. See, a man can deal with all girls and all this other stuff, and he's not looked upon as something dirty. See that? So the feminist view, this is something unfair here, where a man can grow through all of his mistakes early without being shamed. And when he has come to full age, he marry at the peak of his earning power with a woman who appreciate the accomplished man, usually on his way up around 40 to 50 years of age. So he's still in good shape. He still look good. And the woman at that age gains the prize, while all the women he dealt with before that loses. See that? So this is what they're trying to highlight. A man can make all the mistakes in the world, and no one is going to blame him for his past transgressions, and he'll still make up for all of that with high earned in his mature age and win. Now imagine putting those two things up in comparison with women who have spoken to their mothers who now have no man. Right? So now, listen to this. It's getting good, right? Feminist plan is to break the mold in pursuit of happiness. So what's the fix? The image must be changed. So feminists is saying, you know what? We're going to break the mold because it's unfair to women. We're judged upon everything we do. And even if we do right, we still might end up miserable at the end of it. That's what they're saying. Right? So, if women are going to be, they're going to end up unhappy anyway, even if they do what's right, like what they've seen with their mothers, then women might as well have fun and enjoy life early without any man's restrictions. If I'm going to be unhappy at the end of this anyway, then why not have fun at my peak body and my peak years? So in their mind, they've been programmed to believe that they're going to be miserable based on the experiences they've witnessed with the women around them. So if I'm going to be unhappy, then guess what? I'd rather have some fun to look back at and still be miserable at the end of it, because I'm not going to be 20 forever. Right? Now, before I go into this, because that's the view that's alluring to women, but what the feminists aren't bringing forth, brothers and sisters, what they're not saying is that the outcome for a woman who chooses this path is even worse. It's unbearable. It's unbearable, folks. And that's what they're not saying. But you can sell this to women early, before the consequences hit them. Right? So I've quantified that. Someone says the female cannot always blame things on the male. Listen to this, folks. And this is what brothers don't understand. They can do anything they want in the pursuit of happiness, which means if they want to blame the man and not take any blame, that's their business. What I'm telling you here is it don't have to make sense, folks. It doesn't have to make sense. It's their life. It doesn't have to make sense. Whatever they want to do, it's okay. Because at the end of it, they're going to be miserable anyway. See? So they're doing what they want to do, knowing that at the end of it, based on what feminists have programmed in them, they're not going to be happy by the time they get their grandmother's age. So it's time for us to start understanding the view and know where this goes. Because at the end of it, folks, I'm going to show you, at the end of it, when men begin to wake up and realize what they're up against, men are going to begin to what? Steer away from the women like that. And the next mode would be them joining together to kill the men. Okay? Now, listen to me clearly. Listen to me clearly, folks. And it's not like you think. Have you seen the ratio of men to women within the nurse field, within the medical field? The ratio? There's more women there, isn't it? So they got more power than you think. Right? When it comes to, understand, folks, at the end of it, when men stop participating, which means when men no longer sustain them financially, the spirit comes out to where you're worthless, you must die. And that's prophecy. Now, I'm going to show you that in a moment. Right? So men, you brothers, let me make it clear to you, because we're logical and rational beings. But guess what? They know that. The women know we're rational and logical beings. So to us, what they're doing doesn't make sense. But you don't understand what you're up against when people are in this mindset. It don't have to make sense as long as they get their intended outcome while interacting with you. They have an outcome to get. They don't care if you can understand it or logically put it together. As long as they're getting what they want out of this life in the pursuit of happiness. Okay? So stop trying to make sense of it. Because what? They can't make sense of us. They can't make sense to why, what? We don't think all the time like them. Why we don't want to get up and go and change and do things in life and achieve all the life in its splendor, and that we can just sit still without all these objectives in life and be satisfied. They'll never understand that. That we don't need social things. We don't need all of that. They'll never understand why they think what? We're boring. So understand there's a dynamic on either side. That they think we're boring. They think that you just want to have this same life forever? Yep. Yeah. Why? Because a simple life, I know that, guess what? I've lived this far not taking those chances. See? But women don't see it that way. You do one thing and she want to do, you get on a plane and the plane is rocking, all that. You like, look, and you're sitting there praying like, listen, I was fine in the bed with the computer on the side of me and the Bible on the other side. And now we both are looking at each other like, Lord, put the angels on these wings. See? So women will never understand why men don't want to have fun all the time. So there's dynamics on either side where we don't understand one another. See? So it's not just, and guess what? You know why we don't understand each other? And this is where it hits home. Because we're looking for either side to fulfill what only the Most High can.
That's right.
There's never a scenario where a man will totally fulfill a woman or vice versa. And that's God's design. We're both supposed to be dealing with our duties according to Him, to satisfy Him. And it's through that spirit guess what? Man and women can make it through the hard times because they're not doing it strictly for each other or self-gratification. They're doing it because they love the Most High and they're willing to sacrifice their own carnal desires and wants for Him. That's where man and woman can see eye to eye. Only if what? Their desires and what they want aligns with God's. Right? So we're going to talk about it. We are going to talk about it. Because logically, folks, if I didn't have the Bible and heard them speak these things in colleges, it would make sense that women are given, was given a bad deal. According to this world. Right? She was given a bad deal. If I didn't understand the Most High's word, guess what? This is why you have men feminists running around, because they're taught from the feminist religion. That it's unfair. A man can do this, 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 and this, and this. And all these women who are good women who sacrifice all of that time for them misses out while another woman comes who didn't invest anything in him and benefit from what? The height of his manhood and maturity. And she's thinking, hey, you know how many men I had to choose from and sacrifice my best years for you? So it can appear according to the world that it's an unfair deal. And the feminists said, you know what? We're going to rest on this point right here. We're going to rest on this point. All these men are coming after this young girl, and she have to pick one man and hope it's right. Right? So we're going to talk about this, and then we're going to pivot into sustaining. Right? Let's go with image first, right? Let's go with image first, like I've showed earlier, right? Image, early 1900s. Image. So one had to live according to what? The image that was portrayed. Boom. Image. 50s and 60s. Image. 50s and 60s. The white man's image now that they aspire into to bring back with let's make America great again. Let's make America great again. And now here is the image. If the man participates, he can stay in the picture. Right? The matriarchy. How did they move to have us accept a new image that's anti-God? Right? So let's go to the image of the beast in Revelations 13 real quick. Let's go to Revelations 13 and let's go into the image of the beast. Right? So there's economies, brothers and sisters, that have been set up since the beginning, before the flood with Cain. Subsequent to that, with the Tower of Babel. Then you have Sodom and Gomorrah. Then you have what? The Babylonian Empire that came up under that same fashion. And then later Rome would follow that particular fashion. You know, I can't escape the fact that Egypt was in that model subsequent to that, right? And Rome would have the model, but each society, the ancient societies, had a model for family, a design. Now we're going to show you, here is the last image that Satan intended from the beginning with Adam and Eve. Right? If you will, let's go straight to Revelation 13. Let's go straight to the image.
Yes, sir. Revelation 13, verse 11.
Read.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. and the exercise of all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed.
So you have America, who now would have the world worship the first beast that was wounded, which is Rome, the spirit of that same beast. Right? And then,
yes, sir. Verse number 13. And he doth great wonders. In fact, 13. And he doth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven
military.
On the earth in the sight of men.
That's right, the military. So the great works is through their military strength, having great fire come down, speaking of their laser missiles and all these others. Read.
If I can add, this is what makes the war respect the image of this beast.
Yeah, that's what makes you respect the image, because what? It's firepower.
Mm-hmm. So you may not agree with it. You may hate it. You may look at it and say, this is hell on earth, but you respect it because of their military might.
Yes.
Verse number 14. And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had a wound by a sword and did live.
So now we have to talk about the image. A lot of people don't understand. The image is a spirit. The same as we've seen right here. A life to aspire to. Where you can go from one image, where the world will accept that image, to the next image that the world accepts, to the next image that the world accepts. See that? An image. A lifestyle. Now the bar have been moved where cultures can accept an image that what? That former generations would have rejected. Mm-hmm. See that? A lifestyle. So now they have shifted the definition or the meaning for success through imagery. Now everything is an image. You would have people go set up a camera, have a backdrop, and make you believe that they're living the lifestyles of the rich and famous and are flat broke. And you'll have other people looking at that, man, how is she having so much fun and able to travel? And they'll compare that image to the image of their life and believe they're failing. See? So the image is a lifestyle that usually some people would do what? Sacrifice their morality in order to sustain. Or sacrifice common sense. The beta test was during the so-called pandemic, where people was willing to have something foreign shot into their bloodstream to sustain the lifestyles they've worked for. See that? Come on.
15. And they had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
So if you're not down with the image, then eventually these are the outsiders, the threats to society, the threats to Satan's model of his kingdom, a certain profile of his kingdom. And if you don't meet that profile, you are a threat to it. Now let's look at the word image here in the Greek. Let's look at, bear with me here, brothers and sisters, and really focus on this. Right? We're going straight to the image of the beast. Image. In Greek, it's 1504. Iacon, a likeness. That is, statue or profile. A representation, a resemblance, an image. See? So when people put something up on Instagram, they're showing their profile, the image they're portraying to the world. Even if it's fake, they don't care. It makes them happy. Even if they don't have the money to splurge and all that they're showing there, it doesn't matter. It's the image and how people portray them. Folks, here is where the bar has been moved when it comes to success. It's whether or not people think you are successful. That's how far they've moved the bar here with an image. It comes from the Greek word from 1503, Iko, which is what? Akin, idea of faintness as a copy, to resemble or to be like. So there's an archetype that's out there that would what? That would have the world know or think this person is successful, doing good, or is not. It's an image of the beast. This is why they put Instagram and all these things out there to do what? Because it put pressure. It automatically placed pressure on family. And through and by default, it stresses the man, which is what? Satan's intended purpose. That's his intended purpose, indirectly, to destroy the man. But if they change the image to where what? The woman isn't satisfied in her life, then she'll do what? She'll break the covenant. See? Chasing the image. Folks, do you know that that's where it started in the garden? This is where it started. So through feminists, or what when I read in the book, it's about the unfair deal. The unfair deal. And at the end of it, if I'm going to be unhappy like the people around me, like the women around me, guess what? I'm going to shoot all my shots in my prime. I have an image to uphold. I'm not going to be shamed or embarrassed by no man. I'm not, right? Everything is all carnal outside of God's design. Right? So we're going to talk about it. Thank you. I really appreciate you, Damon. Bless you. Bless you all for helping out. Let's go back to the garden real quick and let's jump into it. Let's go to Genesis 3 real quick. Why is God's design, man and woman, under attack? Right? Let's go to Genesis 3 after what did the serpent say to Eve? Right? For those who missed it, please hit the like button. And as you know, we're just looking at the perspective and understanding the perspective here. All right? Of why, even though it's not good long-term for women, why they accept the feminist ideology. Because the current model under God, they were taught, is unfair to them. Okay? It's unfair to them. Right? Let's go to Genesis 3:1 where the serpent is, and let's read it.
Yes, sir. Genesis 3:1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, have God said ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
The first poison. Folks, this is your healthcare system. This is your pharma key from the beginning. Because guess what? The tree has good and evil in it. This tree was planted by the devil, Samael. Let's make it clear. So the tree have good and evil in it, which means there's some healing stuff in it too, with a side effect. We're looking at what? We're looking at the beginning of pharmacy. the pharmaceutical apparatus, the control through sorcery. So it isn't just bad, folks. The same way they'll give you a pill for one thing with a side effect. Same thing. So yeah, it's going to do good for her, but there's a side effect. How many times you looking at TV, they see people smiling, toasting and having a good time. Sports is on and they're running through the meadows, and then all these side effects come right after the intended medication for any particular illness. That's good and evil. See? And the serpent said unto the woman, thank you, read.
And the woman said unto the serpent, we may freely eat of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, ye shall not eat it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
Okay, read the fourth verse.
Verse 4, and the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die.
You will not surely die, read.
For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
Your eyes will be open. So what are we seeing? A shift in expectations. A shift in expectations. So, even though I'm going to go over a few of these and highlight these, this book, Satanic Feminism, they have studied the spirit of that fruit. And this is why studying women, because women are the key to everything, folks, when it comes to culture, tradition, and sustaining the family. They're the first teachers. So they studied the fruit as to why the dynamics of goals for women change every 10 years. They're not the same person from 10 years to the next. Neither are men, but guess what? It's really highlighted and magnified with women. Automatically, every 10 years, she becomes a different person with higher expectations. While the man, he'll succeed to a certain degree, but he's not being driven like that, where he must change his whole life every 10 years. They've studied that. When she's looking at you in the bed like, I signed up for this for 10 years ago. I'm a different woman now. You're going to have to change because I'm changing. Eyes are open. I want more. I want more. I want more. I need the image. But guess what, folks? There's never any satisfaction, because the drive is insatiable. Once they have gotten whatever they desired, they want more. And no one never really understood what that was. That more is the Most High. That brings what? Contentment. And if she don't have the Most High in her life, she'll always drive to try to what? Fulfill something insatiable that cannot be filled outside of the Most High. Right? So then, don't forget, it was Eve's eyes who was open first. Look at all this life, Adam. Look at all of... Guess what? She was shown everything before Adam. Now, if you want to understand what she was showed, right? Okay. Just interaction real quick. If you want to know what she was shown, everybody out there, hit that like button and put one in the chat. Let me show you. I'm going to show you what she was shown real quick. Let's do a little interaction here. And brothers, this will give you an opportunity to understand and not look at her our women as the enemy. Because what's going in her, she cannot control. All right. Bring it out. What was she showed? It's simple, folks. What was Christ shown at the Mount of the Temple? It's the same spirit. Let's go there real quick. Satan makes the same offer to all men. What was she shown? And Adam seen it too. Let's now go to the Temple Mount. And let's start at the 8th verse.
St. Matthew 4:8.
Read.
Again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world, and the glory of them.
The kingdoms of the world and the glory of the kingdom. The image of the beast, folks. All the glory and splendor and the success you can have within the kingdom. Everything. I'll give you everything. You'll be respected amongst your peers. You'll have the nice of everything. You'll have the image of success. Right? That's what people are chasing. And if they don't have it, if they can get in proximity to it and take a picture in proximity, that's the satisfaction. Satan has offered the same thing since he fell. And the devil take him up an exceeding high mountain and show him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them. And guess what, folks? When you go back to the eyes are open, folks, what was the gateway? What is the gateway to knowledge? They're institutions called college. They go there to have a better life. They go there to have a higher earn. They go there to have a certain image, but that image is synonymous with the world's image, primarily against God himself. So she's seen everything. You'll be as gods knowing good and evil. I'll show you the beginning. I'll show you the kingdoms. You can have what I have to offer. Right? Make sure you give it to Adam. Make sure you give it to Adam. Now I'm going to show you how this come around full circle, because what Satan is doing is against God's design for why he made Adam and took Eve from Adam. Satan is trying to do a reverse. But he have to do what? He have to present something that's worth it. Right? And he presented that to the woman. But what the woman didn't know, with this trade, she didn't know what she would have to suffer after all the knowledge, all of the understanding. She didn't know what she had to sacrifice, because the devil never tells a woman that in the beginning. He never presents the outcome. And this is where what? This is where the misery comes in at. Because there's a trade-off that they never tell the woman. There's an exchange. Now, Satan, the serpent, brothers and sisters, don't care about the woman. He's just trying to kill the man. He don't care about the woman. That's just what? Proxy for him to destroy the target. He could care less about her. Okay? He hates man. Woman means from man. So he hates both of us. Okay? So now let's go, Elder. Let's go back to Genesis 3. Right? I'll show you everything. Right? Let's go back.
Genesis 3:6.
Read.
And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant
Let's
to the
go back
eyes,
to 5.
Verse 5. For God doth know that in the day that ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
And you will know good and evil. You will know everything. So Satan she's opened her eyes. She's seen everything, folks. You know, he showed the glory of his kingdoms, the power, all of these things. What happened in the heavens? She's seen everything, folks. And you know what? She was excited. She was totally on board. So too, she went to Adam and said, you have to see this. You want to know the image of how to control a family and how to make them do certain things they would do. On the contrary, in the simple life, it starts here. We're living out what Satan intended when it comes to the destruction of man and woman. We're living it out now. This is what was intended when he presented that fruit from a tree he planted. And when the woman saw that the tree was good, read.
For food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree desired to make one wise.
To make one what?
To make one wise.
To make one wise. Well, how could she gain an advantage? Well, if you can teach her knowledge above the man. And guess what? I love school. I love learning. But there's no greater school than the Most High school, the Bible. No greater school. There's no university on earth that can teach you the wisdom beyond what was given Solomon. The wisdom that you can find through reading the word of the Almighty and understanding it according to its proper narrative. There's no school on earth that can contend against it. But again, Satan said, well, okay, I'm going to make you wise. So the advantage she would have over the man would be if the woman knows more than the man. Y'all see that? That's why they target our sons with all these, I would say, psych meds and all of these when they're kids, and it slows their learning and all that. Or it could be some other stuff that we volunteer in our children's bloodstream that makes the boy, dumbs the boys down, and then it appears that the girls are smarter. But they're not fighting brain damage. Only to educate the woman to change eventually the outcome image. Eve in front of Adam. Don't worry about it. You can get all the schooling you want. You can pay us back later. All right? But come in and get indoctrinated to a degree where what? You believe that you are above God's intended design. See? And guess what? Some women don't even go to school thinking that. They're going to school strictly to have a better life and have some financial upward mobility. They're not even going to school and thinking that they're challenging men. They're going there because it's what? It's an opportunity for them to earn more. But you have to understand those who put the colleges together, what their intentions are. To indoctrinate you and give you a degree that automatically make you believe that you're better than the people you came out of. See? That's right, folks. And when the woman saw the tree that it was good and that it was pleasant to the eyes and the tree to be desired to make one wise, education. Read.
She took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat.
And both of their eyes were open. But now there's a consequence to this. They were put out of the garden. Why? Because Satan made sure they had an opportunity, that they would eat the tree of good and evil before they get a chance to partake of the tree of life. They would have lived forever as what? As gods. The whole earth story would have been done. Okay? The Most High said, get out of here. Because if you partake of this, now you have what? Immortality. If you get out of here now, you must suffer the consequences. And this is what people don't understand. None of us can escape the consequences of Adam and Eve's disobedience. Men are bound to something because of it, and women are bound to something because of it. And there's no dynamics that can change. Nothing can change the dynamics. It's a curse that have been placed on mankind by God himself. We can complain about it. We can say that we don't like the deal we were given, but guess what? We get what we get. No matter how we complain about it. Because the Most High cursed something in us that we must overcome. And once we overcome that, now, these are they who are on the right side of judgment and will make it through what's about to happen. Man cannot escape his curse, and woman cannot escape her curse. But feminism made them believe they could. That was a lie, like Satan lied to our father and mother in the garden. We will have unhappy moments. We will have boredom. We will have less than what the world has. We will suffer together. There is no quick fix. Marriage isn't going to be fixed until the bridegroom marry its bride, according to the world's perspective. Because the image of the beast is insatiable. You'll never be satisfied because why? Satan cannot satisfy in us what only the Most High can. I don't care how many bags, how many cars, how many houses, no matter what, we'll never be satisfied. We'll always look at what we have and say, you know what? It's not enough. It's insatiable. See? We'll always, we thought, okay, if I get this place, man, it'll be the end of everything. I'll be totally satisfied. Mm-hmm. And now you're bored in it, talking about, man, I don't even like this. Mm-hmm. And you could, but before you had it, I don't care what it was. You couldn't sleep until you obtained it. You were like, oh my God, Lord, you blessed me with this. And next thing you know, you'd be like, this ain't nothing. It's like anything else. Right? So now let's go real quick, Elder Lawyer, if you will. Let's go down to the curses real quick. Man cannot escape their curse, and neither can the woman escape her curse. 16.
Verse 16. And unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee.
According to this book, Satanic Feminism, what God cursed women with is an unfair deal. An unfair deal. It's in the book. It's an unfair deal to them. I got almost die having children. And then I got to listen to this man that I believe under some circumstances I'm smarter than. Right? Under some circumstances, This guy is not even smarter than me, but yet I have to be obedient to him. Right? And then I have to go through all this pain, having children, but then this man that I gotta be obedient to, guess what? What happens if he's not around? What happens if he don't find me desirable? These are all the fears that have been put in women through feminism. To make future decisions strictly off of fear and not according to their obedience to God, and say, you know what, if someone do me wrong, I know the God I serve is going to fix everything because I'm right. And if he want to be wrong, guess what? He must endure the wrath of God. I'm not going to minimize my worth and my connection to the Most High because of some man who want to do wrong. I'm not going to cheapen my value and give my purity to just any man because this guy want to be wrong. No, I'm going to do what's right. See? And if he does wrong, guess what? The God I trust in, he'll be the judge of that man. But I'm going to deal with my design as a woman according to God. Folks, they used the Bible to come up with the feminist movement. They used it and said, okay, the things that are just pain and wrong that was done to women outright, we're going to highlight that and teach the world that it's unfair. Why should she have to go through pain to have this man's baby? In sorrow, thou shalt do what? Bring forth children.
Shalt thou bring forth children,
Read.
And thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee.
The desire shall be unto thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. So now, we understand that what? The dynamics of a relationship moves more so in a woman because her sorrows are multiplied and all that. And she want what? Peace, satisfaction. She want to know that she's achieved something in earth. Right? So that's fine. Well, men have to understand that dynamic is there. Right? You understand the dynamic is there, and a man have to now stand to bring forth something she can help meet. So it's not, you have to realize in life, we don't stay stagnant. So a man have to aspire to do something in life where a woman can be proud to meet those expectations. Okay? So we don't ignore what's evident. Every 10 years, her mind change when it comes to certain things. Right? We don't ignore it. What we do is we look at it and say, well, okay. You know, I'm not going to be forced to do anything, especially if I'm doing what's right by God. But maybe the Most High is using her to push me on the next level, to bring something forth that our family will need in times of trouble. So every time she's looking at things and trying to fix it, it's not that she's evil or wrong or rebellious. Maybe the Most High is using her to help you. Okay, it's time to kick it in. It's about to go down. Now I got to stand up as a man. Have I prepared things for when hard times are going to come? Is there what? Reserves for when there's no food? Can he protect our family in the midst of crisis? So we can't just dismiss a woman when she has concerns. We have to do what? Understand it and then operate accordingly. Do we have a plan that she can come in to help meet that keeps her busy? See? You want to talk about idleness and all that. If all she has is Instagram and is looking at other women and all that, and she's seeing other lifestyles that she envy to some degree because her life she feels is going nowhere, it's because she's idle. So what have you put in place to have her work to feel satisfied towards Christ's kingdom? Instead of complaining and saying she's disobedient. No, she don't want to stay stagnant. She want to know that life is moving towards the right direction, and she's seeking a man to show her this. Okay? So that's a point too. So we already understand that her sorrows are multiplied. So even if we think everything is good, she's going to always find something else of concern. Oh, well, you fix that, but what about this? But like, hold up, give me a break. I mean, can I get some? You would think that, okay, this, at least if I fix this bought me at least a week. No, it don't work that way. She's looking at something else that you ain't fixing and you ain't doing. But there's a driving force that's leading us together for preparation, to prepare. Right? So again, and someone says no social media for me. Hey, guess what? I bet you have peace of mind. But they don't just get you at the social media. You start peeking at those Housewives series from hell. Okay, don't think that stuff doesn't have an effect. The Housewives of Atlanta, the Housewives of this and these, man, it's insanity with some of these broadcasts. That's also promoting the image of the beast. Where it's about travel and me and the girls going out and all this, and now we're talking our business to other people. Everything the Bible says women aren't supposed to do in conversation. When you got some sodomites behind the scenes as producers stirring it up, telling everybody's business when no one is supposed to know your business. Right? And unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow. Come on, elder lawyer.
And thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband.
Read.
And he shall rule over thee.
And he shall rule over thee. So this is an unfair deal according to the feminist Satanist ideology. Feminism is Satanism. It is. But I thought I would lay out the logic that are convincing women that feminism is a better deal for them. Because they can do all things right, have the pain and all that, and at the end of the day, there's a man somewhere who they gave children with someone else, benefiting from the man she helped create, that she cultivated. Like, why did all the bad times in practice, why did that have to happen with me? I should have been the one waiting at the finish line for the finished product. Right? So it makes women bitter because they had choices. It makes them bitter because they had choices and chose you. See? All right? So that's what makes a woman bitter. Now, understand this. So that means God's design was right the full time. And I'm going to go to the man in a moment. His design was right. The design is the father. Now, at this time, let me go back here. At this time, the mother raised the daughters to be wives. Right? At this time, the fathers raise the daughters to be wives. There's only one model that works. The family together, and the man that's going to take the hand of one of our daughters must be vetted by the father. That's God's design from the beginning. Okay? Eve was given to Adam by God. Okay? So the whole thing is, when it comes to the daughter, the father is in charge because he can vet a man, comparing that man to himself. Okay? Understanding the values that's within that home according to God, he can vet that man and hold that man to a standard when it comes to his family, because his daughter belongs to him. That's his family name. This model is God's model as to why things are broken. A girl in her impressionable age isn't supposed to choose what's right for her. Only a man could. And she would have to be what? Obedient to that man. Right? So usually when a man sees a man interested in his daughter, he goes, there's some talking points. There's some bullet points. There's something that he needs. There's a conversation that must be had on whether or not he is worthy enough. Where do you work? What's your plans for her? Where do you live? What your father do? What do your mother do? I would like to sit down and we can have dinner together. I need to understand if there's any what? Any type of chaos or trauma I'm marrying my family to. See? God's design, his model always works. And still, folks, doing it perfect, there still will be trouble. Challenges. Even if when we did it that way, it was still issues. Mm-hmm. We had sayings on either side. They try to make you think that it was just men cheating back then, as if we didn't grow up during those times. They'll make you think that women were all innocent. They were all clear Huxtables, okay? No, there was a saying growing up. Mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Nothing changed. There was always conflict. There was always a difference of opinions and all that, but it started right here with Adam and Eve, folks. But the difference is the former generations were stronger. They were stronger. Their view of success had very little to do with income. It was the family's name, the integrity, not having to endure the shame by disrespecting the name on your house. See that? Let me tell you, what we're looking at here, folks, this was a regular Sunday morning on our way to church. Okay, straight up. And I'm talking about being dressed to impress, including underwear 7 days a week. You better not go outside not looking right. Okay, and it had nothing to do with how much money dad made. What we're looking at here is the image of success. Some of us think that we could break off relationships and start over to obtain some level of success out of failure. They don't even say destroying relationships is failure anymore. They don't even say it. They'll make you believe it. Matter of fact, under what I'm reading here, they'll cheer it on. Get rid of him. He's no good for you. And now not realizing there's a void in you that will never get replaced. That will never be replaced. Now let's talk about here in Adam.
17. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it, cursed is the ground for thy sake, and sorrow thou shalt eat of it all the days of thy life.
Curse are what? It says, curse is the ground for thy sake. I'm not giving you anything, Adam. I've given you everything. Guess what? Everything you get from now on, Adam, you're going to have to work for it. You're going to have to work. Everything. A matter of fact, Elder Lloyd, let's get that. Let's get that when it talks about a beggar. Hold on. Let me get it. And this is for the men in Sirach. One second. And the Bible, let me tell you, the Bible is hard. Let me tell you, it's hard on men who beg other people to survive. Let me get it. Let me get it. Let me get that real quick. There's one out of Ecclesiastes, right?
Here's one, but I believe there's another one.
Yeah, I need the one that goes directly. It's cold-blooded too. Mm-hmm. Where it goes into, I don't even know if I want to say it, about a beggar. But what you got? Chapter and verse.
Here's one, Sirach 18:33.
Sirach 18, verse 33. Get it here. 1 second. 1 second. Get it real quick. There's another book I wanted to. Go ahead.
Yep, Sirach 18:33. Be not made a beggar upon banqueting. Let me read that again. Be not made a beggar by banqueting upon borrowing.
Let's get it. Give me the chapter and verse.
Sirach 18:33.
Sirach 18, verse 33. Right? That's it. That's one of them. Mm-hmm. All right? 1 second. Let me get it here. All views. Let's read it.
Sirach 18:33.
Read.
Be not made a beggar by banqueting upon borrowing.
It says, be not a beggar by banqueting upon borrowing. Where it's your regular routine to beg others to survive, for survival. That's a shame to the Most High. The Most High looked down on that because this is people who are trying to do what? Escape accountability that started with Adam. Everything that was given to you, Adam, hey, you got to work for it now. How can you take what another man has worked for? That's for his family. And guess what? Some of us fall on hard times. If you have to borrow, okay. But banqueting means this is a normal routine to have your hand out looking at people as marks on opportunity to get something from them. That's a sickness. That's a sickness. When you're looking at people and you're just seeking an opportunity, you've lived your life with a routine to be able to do what? Seek out people to pillage finances from. Be not a beggar by banqueting upon borrowing. Read.
When thou hast nothing in thy purse, for thou shalt lie in wait for thine own life and be talked on.
Thou shalt lie in wait for thine own life and be talked on. People are not going to say it in front of you. And this is even in the world. They won't say it in front of you, but when you walk away, they'll say, this person, this guy is a bum. They will shame you behind your back and say, this person is a bum. Now there's others that says, hey, a beggar is counted as an animal. And I'm going to put it that way. The Most High doesn't like a man who refuses to work, because that's your honor to provide for your family. That's your honor. This is what, when I was growing up, that's how men earned what? They earned the head seat at the table. You weren't given the head seat at the table. The head seat at the table was earned. So then it comes down to a lot of women here who would choose a man that you know can't earn, but then complain about it later. See? The Bible talks about a beggar is counted as a dog. Okay? So again, men are supposed to work and provide and be the head of his home. You cannot claim to be the head of your home if you're living under your woman. If you're living under your woman and it's her name and it's her name and her property that's shamed upon when it comes to the Almighty. And this is what makes women believe that they have to fend on their own, that they have to stand on their own because the men aren't stepping up for their name's honor. So people like to talk about women, but they're not talking about the fact that you can't give a woman her honor by saying, you know what? My man did this to me. He put me here. He made sure I had an apartment. He made sure that I was living okay. And I'm going to tell y'all this. Overseas, that's not allowed. In the Middle East, brothers and sisters, that's not allowed. A guy cannot come to a woman claiming he want to be with her without first showing his bank account to the father. He have to give a dowry to the father, and he have to provide a flat or a house before the father says, you can have my daughter's hand in marriage. So now, let me tell you what happens here. Now he has skin in the game. He has skin in the game, which means if he end up doing something or whatever the case is, she's already taken care of and have something for the rest of her life. Now, America didn't want to do that deal because they want debauchery, sin. They want disruption between man and woman. But if that model was in place, then women would be more secure here. So what they did was they compensated by saying, well, okay, you don't have to make the right choices, man or woman, but we'll put a child support thing in place so at least you'll have something. See? But overseas is not that way. You can't step to a guy just because you like the way a girl looks and get his daughter. No, you got to come with everything. You got to come with a plan, a place to stay, all of that.
I found it when you look.
Yeah, chapter and verse.
Sirach 40 and 28. Or, yeah, 40 and 28.
That's it. Sirach 40, verse 28. Let's read that.
Sirach 40 and 28.
Read it.
My son, lead not a beggar's life.
My son, lead not a beggar's life. Read.
For better it is to die than to beg.
It's better to die than to beg. Look at that, folks. It's better to die. He says, listen, what woman can respect a man who lives off another man when provisions is what? One of the expected intent when it comes to man. It's one of the attributes of men, a man being a provider. That's a man's attribute. So if a woman see a man begging another man, she'll begin to believe what? That man is above her husband. Automatically. Automatically, she believes that other men are better. And I'm saying this for men. Am I saying her thoughts are right? No, I'm not saying they're right. And there's a difference between someone who fall on hard times and needs some help sometimes. And that, because guess what? I've fallen on a hard time and asked somebody, hey, can I borrow something in a couple of weeks? I'll give it back to you and I'll sweeten it up for you a little bit, huh? And I've done it. I fell on hard times. That's not a beggar. That's not what the Bible is talking about right here. What we're seeing here, where begging becomes an occupation for this person. Okay? Begging has become an occupation. It's just like a second job for this person. Right? My son, lead not a beggar's life. Read.
For it is better to die than to beg.
Read.
The life of him that dependeth on another man's table is not to be counted for a life.
The life of him that dependeth on another man's table is not to be counted for a life. Now tell me the Most High isn't cold-blooded when it comes to demanding a man do something within himself. What are you here for and you're not producing? So now we have to understand the spirit that drives, that gives the feminist opportunity. The spirit, because these are the things that the spirit of feminism will highlight. The life of him that dependeth on another man's table is not to be counted for life. Read.
For he polluteth himself with other men's meat.
He polluteth himself by eating at everybody else's table. Read.
But a wise man well nurtured will beware thereof.
But a wise man well nurtured would look at this person and say, you know what? I'm going to avoid this person. This is a dangerous person. Because if they have to beg to survive, what else would they do? What else will they do to survive? On my life. See? So men gain honor and respect of their peers by what? Showing forth their works.
That's how you get respect amongst other men. There's a different metric for women. There's a different metric for women. A woman could be flat broke and look nice and be highly valued because a rich man will make sure she's okay. That dynamic is don't work for men. Okay? Where you can look nice and be flat broke with no job and begging and have some level of what? Respect amongst other men. That doesn't exist. Because what? Women has an entirely different, I would say, metric when it comes to, or expectations when it comes to value. A man don't care about a woman's money. But on the contrary, a woman cares about a man who can protect and provide. Men will look to for that, and it's because of what? What the Most High cursed us with, either side. Okay, it's inherent. It's in our blood that a woman will always respect a man who can provide. Women aren't looked to for money. Okay. Let's go back here. Finish reading. Blessed and sweet.
It says, begging is sweet in the mouth of the shameless.
Begging is sweet in the mouth of a man who has no shame. So here's dynamics where a woman can do what a man can't do. A woman ain't looked upon as some type of, if she needs something and a man can provide for it. But men, nah. Okay? Begging is sweet in the mouth of the shameless. A man that have no shame or run around begging other people. Without regard of how they're viewed. And they'll walk around operating like that as if no one can see them. And sometimes what they'll do is they'll find new marks so not to be shamed. They'll find new people to beg from. That's a very, very dangerous spirit. But in the belly.
But in his belly there shall burn a fire.
There shall burn a fire. He'll always have an insecurity within him. He'll know that he's deficient. There's nothing more humiliating than having to grovel to another man to survive. And that's a piece a lot of women be saying, well, why don't you talk about men? Well, okay, there it is. There it is. But then it comes down to a line being set on either side. Right? With a man, what is the bar for the woman, right? To be accepted by an honorable man. And guess what? Make sure that line don't budge. And it's vice versa. The woman, what is your expectations for that man? According to God. And you're not going to lower that particular standard, because those standards I'm talking about right now, these standards aren't set by men or women. These standards were set by God in the beginning. That's where we must set the bar. Where it's not our standards, well, how much in all this? No, the value system is with God. Which means this guy don't have to be rich, but is he a good man who provides? Does he have a what? A good work ethic? Is there a plan you can agree to, even if you don't have enough right now, that if you put your heads together with the Almighty, that you can make something for the family that the family would be proud of? Something the children can grow into and work with. See? Not looking at income as everything, but what? Start off with the image of what you want for your family first, when it's only just you two. Right? It starts off with just two people. But find out what the image you expect when it's only you two, and have a plan. The proper work ethic. What is your long-term plan according to what? God's plan. The Most High's plan. Okay? Hold tight. I'll be right back. One second. I'll be right back with part 2. Part 2 won't be long at all. One moment.
The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book. And the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy. You're invited.
All right. All right. Lawyer would be right back. We'll be right back. But in the meantime, I'm going to drop a few things. We're going into part 2, only a small part, before breaking down, and we'll be able to answer any questions you might have. What was the fallout? What is the fallout that plagues man and women today as to why we can't see eye to eye? Let me show you. Let me show you real quick. Right? All right. When you go into 2nd Ezra in the Bible, listen to what it says. For the first Adam, bearing a wicked heart, transgressed. You good? You see, you want some tea or something? Okay, great. The water. Well, the lawyer, yeah, you can come on through. Let's go to 2nd Ezra 3, verse 21. Let's read that.
Yes, sir. 2nd Ezra 3 and 21.
Yes, sir.
For the first Adam, bearing a wicked heart, transgressed, and was overcome.
For the first Adam, bearing a wicked heart, transgressed. See that? You notice that when the curse is expounded upon under certain circumstances, it starts with Adam. Adam was told not to touch the tree. So now you just can't point and say, well, God, here's the woman you gave me. No, I told you not to touch it, Adam. So in Genesis 3, there's a bunch of finger pointing with no one, with either side understanding the big picture. God. And the finger pointing and blaming one another has continued since Adam and Eve, folks. We're talking about thousands of years ago, and it's still the finger pointing. But who's missing in the equation? And this is why people break up. Because it's their view as to why the relationship didn't work without what? Without including God in the equation. For the first Adam bearing a wicked heart transgressed, read.
And was overcome, and so be all they that are born of him.
All they that are born of Adam is suffering the same curse, folks. That's the battle between men and women. All of humanity has been cursed. Thus
infirmity was made permanent, and the law also in the heart of the people, with the malignity of the root, so that the good departed away, and the evil abode still.
So the good in people departs away, and evil, the wickedness, the evil root takes precedent. See? That's what happens. That means there's a war in the flesh. There's a spirit seeking to do what? Seeking to destroy the good in all of us. There's a spirit. When Adam and Eve partook of that fruit, guess what? Now there's something contrary warring against the good nature the Most High made man with through the Holy Spirit. See? So there's a war. So you notice how sometimes somebody that you know that was always chipper, always nice, always, every time you're around them is a good spirit and all of that. And then they're the direct opposite of that, miserable. Everything that comes from them is negative. You can't stand to bear them. And you don't understand what it was. Like, man, this person have changed immensely. That means the dark malignant spirit is winning. It's destroying the good and the pure nature that we once knew. The person we knew is dying. And you know that when what? The evil takes over. And see, you have to view that of how God sees that. So what happens when people become bitter? When they become hurt? They're still the same person. But there's a root that takes over to protect the hurt person. To protect the hurt person now, it what? The evil takes over and say, okay, I'm going to defend you. See? It's something else working in a person. Not forgiveness. Not love. Not the fruits of the Spirit is saying, you know what? I don't want to, even though I'm hurt, I don't want to listen to the dark nature because the dark nature is going to consume all of me. The dark nature is not going to stop. It would seem as a protective mechanism initially until it'll get rid of all the people who hurt me, but then it consumes me. And then when people who knew you see you again, they'll look at you and say, nah, you ain't the same person. Something happened. It's a malignant root. See? So that root that comes with bitterness and hurt, disappointment and all that, we have to be careful what we do in the midst of all of that because something is trying to take over. We're like, hold up. I know what I'm feeling is bad, but guess what, Lord? I'm not going to lose myself in an instant because of this scenario. Whether it be man or woman, I'm not going to lose my connection with you because of him or because of her. See? a malignant root,
so that the good departed away, and the evil abode still.
and the evil abode still. See? That's what this root is. And guess what? That part, Satan, Samael, didn't tell Eve that I'm going to infect all of your children. And with this infection, it'll be the carnal nature, the insatiable nature to want and to lust after my world. After my world. I'm going to tear you all apart with the pursuit of happiness. Because Satan already knew the happiness was in the Garden of Eden. There is no true happiness on the outside of it until Christ returns our kingdom. So Satan created what? A Disney fantasy that doesn't exist. Man and women will always be at odds with one another. And the only time they're on one accord is when they both see eye to eye concerning the God they serve. Concerning the Most High and the Most High's expectation for man or woman. That's the only satisfaction we get out of this, and to see our children grow in respect and love for the Almighty. That's the happiness. That's the happiness. I hope you all are taking in what we're showing you here, right? Real quick, Elder Lawyer, where that paper I had? Did that fall? I told you to write a few things down, right? We have the malignant root. So, what's in the malignant root? If you can, let's go to Romans, the 7th chapter. And give me the one, Timothy's, which shows that the 2nd chapter should be saved in childbearing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Got that for me?
Yes, sir. You want that first, or?
No, we'll get that second. Right? Right. Let's go to Romans 7 first. And let's talk about the manifestation of that particular spirit in Romans 7. Paul talks about it. That law.
Mm-hmm. All right, Romans 7:1. Know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law, how that the law have dominion over a man as long as he liveth.
Read.
For the woman which hath an husband is bound by the law to her husband so long as he liveth. But the husband is dead.
But if he's dead,
she is loose from the law of her husband.
She is loose from the law of her husband, if he's dead. Read.
So then, if while the husband liveth, she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress. But if her husband be dead, she is free from the law, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man.
Read.
Wherefore, my brethren, ye also are become dead to the law by the body of Christ, that ye should be married to another, even to him who was raised from the dead, that we should bring forth fruit unto God.
That we shall bring fruit unto the Almighty. Read.
For when we were in the flesh, the motions of sin which were by the law did work in our members to bring forth fruit unto death.
That fruit unto death, starting with the fruit at the tree of good and evil, folks. It did work in our members to bring forth fruit unto death. If you eat this, surely we were told, Eve said, if we eat this, we shall surely die. You shall not surely die. Your eyes will be open, and guess what? You'll understand good and evil, but also there's a malignant spirit and an insatiable spirit in that particular person now. Which what? which has infected all of Adam and Eve's children. Okay? It's a law within the bodies. When you see this word law, you think it's talking about the law of Moses. No, it's talking about a separate law. The law within the flesh. But now
we're delivered from the law, that being dead we were held, wherein we were held, that we should serve in newness of spirit, and not in the oldness of the letter.
And not in the oldness of the letter. Read.
What shall we say then?
What shall we say then?
Is the law sin?
Is the law sin?
God forbid.
God forbid. We're supposed to follow the law. Read.
Nay, I had not known sin but by the law. For I had not known lust, except the law have said, thou shalt not covet.
Thou shalt not covet. Now it's going to go through the 10 commandments, but then it switched to another law in the flesh. Right? Let's go all the way down to that war in the flesh. Let's start at 14.
Verse 14. For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal.
But I am carnal.
Sold under sin.
So the law, the 10 commandments, is good. But we, being children of Adam and Eve, were sold under sin. Read. Now listen to this law.
15. For that which I do allow, or
not.
that which I do, I allow not. For what I would, that do I not. But what I hate, that I do.
So I find myself doing what's contrary to the good in me, is what Paul is saying. Now we're starting to understand what was placed in Adam and Eve through that poisoning. You want to do good, but you find yourself doing the contrary. 16.
If then I do that which I would not, I consent unto the law that it is good.
Read.
Now then it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me.
So he realized there's another law in his members. There's a law that's trying to compel him to sin. Read.
For I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing.
And it's hard for people to admit this. No one wants to actually look at themselves under that curse, but should admit it. Based on the evil thoughts that come to our mind, we must admit that in the flesh, that this flesh is cursed. It's cursed contrary to why God made Adam and Eve. And it doesn't matter how good we think we look or how beautiful as a woman you think you look, we're still under cursed vessels. And see, and that's a humbling way of viewing ourselves instead of the vanity that they've been promoting in the world today to have us believe that we're more than filthy flesh. And that's what happens with men and women. They start to believe they're better than the person they're with. Or, I've outgrown him. Or, that person wasn't on my level. No, you both were sinful flesh in the eyes of God. You both were sinful flesh. And this is the humbling that Paul is talking about. Dealing with the reality of who he is. For I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing. Read.
For to will is present with me, but how to perform that which is good, I find not.
I know the right decisions and what to do in my mind, but how to perform what's good, I find myself not doing that all the time. And knowing what's right. Now, suppose every man and woman examine themselves as Paul is examining himself right now. That keeps you humble. And not only that, on top of that, you would tend listen to this. You would actually appreciate a person who's with you, who put up with the negatives and not hold those against you. Because you know you ain't fully right. You know you have faults like others, but there's a person who's willing to do what? Bear those things and not shame you for it. Mm-hmm. See? Everyone understands where their deficiencies are. But then you have a person who's not going to judge your negatives and where you fall short in the flesh and love you anyway. Right? For I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing. Read. For to will is present with me.
But how to perform that which is good I find not.
He says, but I find that it's harder to do it, even though it's in my mind to do right. He have the law in him, but still he see that there's something in him fighting against the law of God. That's what Satan placed also in the fruit. That you'll battle against what's right, even if it's bad for you long term. Even though there's consequences for your actions right now, you'll still do it. See? 19.
For the good that I would do, or for the good that I would, I do not. But the evil which I would not, that I do.
I find myself doing the wrong things, Paul says. Now, does this make Paul an evil man? No. He've learned that something contrary operates within him, which is what? It's the beginning of fixing the problem, not blaming others on the outside of him. Now I'm not going to try to look on the outside of me for what's wrong, compare myself to someone else, knowing that I need fixing myself. And in the parameters of a relationship, man and woman, this is a reality check. Because what people do is they start looking at things that they can point out as negative, and that's all they see when they want out of something. Instead of understanding that the negative in them can be even worse than what they're trying to point out in others. See? Are you following me here? What gives you the moral high ground to look down on another person and say, well, they're not fitting my expectations, but yet this person is fitting God's expectations, is where things go wrong. Is this person following God? Is he a provider? Is he this? Does he love me? Does he love my children? And vice versa. Or do I want more? And be honest about it. $20.
Now, if I do that I would not, it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me.
He realized that there's something in him working, using his body contrary to the Almighty. So now he has to come up with what? A fix. How do I get this thing that's working contrary to me? How do I get it bound, or at least restrict its access to me? Because I can't get rid of it. It'll always be there. It's the infection that came with Adam and Eve. So negative thoughts to do wrong will always pop up. So how do I minimize this spirit that works contrary to me, that's trying to destroy not just me, but my legacy, my family, anything that I'm striving for? There's something that's trying to knock me backward. Right? So how do I overcome this? 21.
I find in a law that when I would do good, evil is present with me.
Now I find a law that even when I do the right thing, evil is present. How so? In order for him to do the right thing, folks, listen to this. He chose to do the right thing, contrary to a thought that was telling him to do something different. That's how we know, okay, even when I do the right thing, it's still there. That infection with Adam and Eve is present in me because I have to choose to do right now. Right? So that's the battle we have under the image of the beast now, because Satan have opened up the world where everyone can partake in the glory of his kingdom. Everyone can do it regardless of what? Regardless of your financial status or class, you can get a taste of it. And he did that intentionally. So what? So that now it makes the choice to do good or follow God, it makes the choice harder. Right? Now you can be broke as a joke and you can be flued out. Right? You can put some money together. Let me tell you, folks, when I was being raised, guess what vacation was? Getting in a station wagon and driving back down south to see your family. That's what vacation. People getting flued out. You got people broke as a joke, flying to Dubai, flying in the islands just to take a picture to show them in different places and all of that. The world has opened up intentionally so people would choose the world over righteous choices. Satan just opened everything up and say, indulge. Have this expectation while family, while man and woman is getting utterly decimated. You'll be able to post the optics of what? The pursuit of happiness. While we're being utterly gutted. And it's intentional because he wants that to resonate more so. The fleshly, insatiable mindset, he needs that to now subdue the Holy Spirit. That's the battle. Either the Holy Spirit subdue this battle in the flesh, this malignant spirit, or the malignant spirit overtakes the Holy Spirit. That's how it works. They cannot work together in union without battling with one another, and that's the battle we have in the flesh. And the choice we make towards good leads to what side we'll be on when Christ returns. Read on.
Verse number 21. I find in a law that when I would do good, evil is present with me. For I delight in the law of God after the inward man. But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind, and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members.
So something is trying to bring who we are, our good nature. It's trying to subdue us and change us from that pure, loving son and or daughter of the Almighty. It's trying to snatch our happiness. And the happiness is contentment with the Most High. I don't care how many schools you go to. I don't care how many jobs you get. I don't care what your income is. It doesn't matter. None of that buys happiness. True contentment and happiness is when you are aligned with the Almighty and you know in your heart He's satisfied with you. That's the true happiness, when you understand that the Most High is happy with you. And that you are aligned with what He gave the duty for Adam to do and the duty He gave Eve to do. And guess what? You're satisfied with your roles. Does it mean that everything is going to work out? Does it mean every day is going to be happy? No. No. Doesn't mean that. There's going to be ups and downs. Look what happened with Adam and Eve. Okay? Look at what came of their sin. So thinking that getting in a relationship and it's happily ever after, guess what? happily ever after doesn't exist until Christ returns. O wretched man, read.
O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from this body or from the body of this death?
Read.
I thank God through Yeshua Mashiach, our Lord. So then with the mind I serve the law of God.
I serve the law of God, read.
But with the flesh, the law of sin.
But with the flesh, the law of sin. Now that I'm able to do what? Separate the two and understand that, guess what? Usually what we try to do is claim that even the negative in us, well, this is the way I am. Not separating the man and woman the Most High made from the law that's in the flesh. Sometimes we take our negatives and just say, listen, this is just who I am. Owning that man or woman in the flesh instead of realizing, well, guess what? Who I am isn't going to make it unless I'm able to identify the spirit that's contrary to God's nature. See? Hope y'all understand this. I hope this is hitting home to you with you today. Not dismissing either view, whether it be man or woman. Not dismissing man or woman's concerns. Okay? There's panels all over online where men and women are talking this, that, and the other, and I don't hear anything about what? What is your position according to God's design? And are any of us fulfilling that? All this dating. Dating means what? You're just going around sexing. Just say what it is.
Right.
Come on, what are we going to do about the dating climate? You can't. Hell is what's going to happen with the dating climate.
That's right.
Okay, podcast done. That's it. It's over. There's no discussions about. We go into the mingles and there only 3 men showed up, and no. Dating is sexy. That's what dating is. Okay, so let's tell it what it is and say, well, okay. Well, let's have a conversation on where all of this leads. It's going to lead what? It's going to lead men and women even more frustrated with one another to the point where what? We're already here, folks. We're already here. Satan's intended plan was to get rid of Adam. And we're here. We got women online saying, and they're doing it. Okay? We have women online, of course they're out of their minds, who say, well, listen, if we do an ultrasound and it's a boy, we're going to delete the baby. There's a whole movement for this. We're only going to bring forth the girls. Sick out of their minds. Right? Because they didn't do the right thing from the beginning with getting with the person according to God's intent. See? It's already happening. And then another thing is there's a plan, right? I was talking about it earlier today, seen online. A girl dating a guy. And what happens? She has a prior relationship, a lesbian relationship with another girl. The guy see him operating wrong inside a bar or something with another guy, and he try to break it off. And what happens? The girl's lesbian best friend, they came together and try to set him up where the lesbian girl could kill the boy, the man, only to call the cops and cry self-defense. It's happening. If it wasn't for a neighbor in the phone, they would have got rid of the guy, called the cops and said, I was defending my friend. 2 lesbians tried to kill off a man. It's already happening. I'm telling you, it's happening where when men no longer, I'm talking about the world right now, under the image of the beast. When men stop providing anything for women, there will be no use for them. And at that point, the women are going to want the men. Their plans is to get rid of the men if they can't use them. Okay? I'm going to tell you, that's the plan. Okay? Satan's plan was to get rid of the man the whole time because we were made to judge him, the fallen angel, Samael and the 1/3 angels who judge. Enoch judged the angels, folks. He was a man. So those in Christ will have that same task, and Satan is trying to get in front of it by setting the world's climate to destroy the men before Christ returns. No men, no people. And this is why when you read Isaiah, the 4th chapter, a matter of fact, let's get Ephesians real quick. I mean, not Ephesians. Timothy, yeah. So, what is contentment? What makes a woman truly happy according to God's plan? Where at least she's content, like some of our women of old time were content. Where it's happiness outside of finances. Is that even possible? Let's read it.
All right, 1 Timothy 2 and verse number 13.
Let's read it.
For Adam was first formed, then Eve.
Before that, let's get that. Let's get
11.
Let's get Let's get 9. Let's read 9.
Verse 9. In like manner also the women adorn themselves in modest apparel, with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with braided hair, or gold, or pearls, or costly array.
Women adore themselves in modest apparel, not with the stuff that allures people. Right? I already broke down earlier some of what's in here. Satanic feminism. It's about using the body to have fun, not realizing whether or not you'll be miserable by the time you get your grandmother's age. Use your body. But God said no. It's not your outward aesthetics that God is looking down on for virtue. Read.
But that which becometh women professing godliness with good works.
With good works. Know that what you're doing for the family is good enough. At any time, the world powers can snatch your jobs and everything is right from you. And then what you got? Good works according to God. 11.
Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection.
Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. Which means, what's wrong with humbling yourselves to a man? Why is that so hard? That you feel you're losing something, like something is stolen from you. If you can show obedience to a man in front of other women. I need y'all to think about that, folks. Sometimes women would have to modify how they speak of certain things. Can't even speak out that they're going to do something right for the man they have, without their friends getting upset. So they try to modify it in a way where their friends will accept them saying that they are obedient or submit to a man or respect a man's opinion. Or another way is that they won't be satisfied, which is what the man say. They would need a counter just to show that they have a say too. It's always a counter. They don't even realize that's rebellion. Just imagine the Most High tell us what to do, and I'm sitting there with the Most High in Christ saying, well, this is what I'm saying, though. I need you to hear my perspective also. Right? Not that men and women don't have conversation, but sometimes when the evil spirit of the flesh comes into play, it becomes a competition. When the Most High never intended for man and woman to compete against one another. But I suffer what?
But I suffer not the woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence.
But to be in silence. You shouldn't have authority over man and think that it's okay. Not realizing if you were to try to show up a man in front of other people, folks, that's the highest level of embarrassment. That's the highest level of disrespect. (13)
For Adam was first formed, then Eve.
For Adam was first formed, then Eve. So what is the Bible is doing here? It's putting everything in its proper order. Never forget who the man is. Without him, there would be no woman. A rib was sacrificed for your life. Something came out of him that made you. Always understand that the Most High will never view it any other way. He always, don't forget, we're bound by time and space, not God. So the way he's looking at it, every time he looks down and sees some disrespect, he can look right there at the garden at a time when you didn't exist and realize that you came from man. And how can you respect the one you come from? That's like us disrespecting the God we came from. See? That's how God is viewing it, the disrespect. So you just can't disrespect the image of God who's man. And I'm speaking of men who are doing the best they can. I'm not talking about those who aren't trying to do right. I'm talking about the men who are doing right and trying the best they can. You don't think you can jump over that man and disrespect him, and that God who made him will accept you. It doesn't work that way. You can't jump over him and say, I got a relationship with God too. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay? He put man in the position so that woman now can do what? Her duty to show forth whether or not she really, truly respects the God who created Adam. How you treat him and what you do with him show forth whether or not you truly believe in God. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. Read.
And Adam was not deceived, but the woman, being deceived, was in the transgression.
She did what? She ate of the fruit first. So it's reminded in the New Testament that, hey, there's a heavy weight that comes with that choice, with you doing this first. Okay? I don't care how much epidural you get. I don't care how much all of this other stuff to try to ease the curses that come with it. God never forgot it. And this is why women suffer in their minds when it comes to worry and all that, more so than men. Woman can't escape it. But the woman being deceived was in transgression, but then where's her happiness? Read. Notwithstanding,
she shall be saved in childbearing.
She shall be saved in childbearing. This is where her happiness lies. And bringing forth children. And still in what? The traditions for the family name and the love of God within that family. Folks, the women of old understood at the end of their lives, this is where the satisfaction comes in at. That she was able to stand 10 toes down on God, her family's name, and sacrifice even through the hard times. For what? Brothers and sisters, she understood for the legacy that comes with being a daughter of God. That there were sacrifices she had to make, and she don't regret those sacrifices because it was for a godly reason. She don't look down at man and regret her past and all these others. She don't do that because she understood what she was doing was for God. She won't have no regrets, even though things didn't go right or a man didn't treat her right at some point or whatever. She don't look at none of that because she stood 10 toes down with God and was able to do what? Bear the hard times and go through the hard times to appreciate the blessings that came with her standing with perseverance. Those were and are the strong women, not the weak ones who give up at the first sign of disagreement or friction. When they talk about strong women, those are not strong women. The women of old were the strong women. And guess what? When they talk about strong men, there's not too many of those left there either. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing. That's where her happiness come in at. Raising a righteous family. Read.
If they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety.
Exactly. Knowing that you're giving things to people. I seen the sisters downtown yesterday. They had bags and all. Look at these families back then. They was ready to sing. We're gonna be doing it early where we'll go out there, we'll sing a little bit, sing to the people, talk to the people. But sisters was out there making sure they talked to the people who were homeless. They were giving bags of food to those who didn't have any food. Let me tell you, what I'm mentioning right now is what truly makes a woman happy, not the vanity Satan is using as bait to get us up from under the hedge of God through an image. And this is why, folks, not too many of us in this earth is going to make it. Let's go ahead and Matthew real quick where it talks about the straight gate. The straight gate. Let's read that.
Say Matthew, straight to the point.
Yeah.
Matthew 7 and verse number 13.
Matthew 7, verse 13. Let's read it.
Enter ye in at the straight gate.
Enter you in at the straight gate.
For wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat.
Many are going to follow Satan's image, folks, directly to hell. Many. So what we're bringing out through the Spirit of the Almighty to lead brothers and sisters under the hedge of Christ, understand that the majority of the world is going to go the other way. Understand that. And we have to understand the dynamic and landscape and just the dynamic of a society, right? Of a society that cleave to the other side, chasing the image, and what that means for us going through Jacob's trouble, folks. It's going to be total chaos where people are turning on each other. And folks, the turning have already started. It has already started. The love of many shall wax cold. Folks, you think it wasn't talking about men and women there? Where people would just give up on each other just for anything? This ain't the life I expected for myself. I want better. I'm out. Well, what did I do? Well, it don't matter what you did. I've outgrown you. Okay? Doesn't matter what you did. You are a good man, but you'll excuse you for somebody else. I'm out. Okay? What about the children? Who cares about the children? I have a life too. I already had my children. And you think I'm going to live my life and sacrifice my life for them? Well, no. I want to be happy too. See? understand that it's going to go that way. The majority of the scenarios are going to go that way, and the excuse is always going to be someone else without that person admitting the desires that are within them. It'll always be, it was someone else to why I'm somewhere else. They'll never admit that the lust of the flesh that's within them, that's driving them. Because usually, whatever choice they make must be justified through the eyes of men. You just have to come up with they just have to come up with a well enough story to tell people to why they gave up. You got to find the right ingredient, the right mix to tell others to justify operating on the outside of God's divine plan. So understand, the majority of people are going to follow what they want to do. Right? Because what?
Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth to life, and few there be that find it.
And few there be that find it. Understand, folks, the image of the beast is real, and the majority of people are going to follow it. So then, Isaiah 4:1. So where does all this lead at the very end? Isaiah 4 verse 1. Let's read that.
Isaiah 4:1. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man.
7 women shall take hold of one man. And I see a lot of brothers out there bragging and, yeah, I'm going to have all these women, yeah. The scripture ain't talking about that. Why is there 7 women to one man? Folks, the climate they have created in the earth is an earth with less men due to what? The men getting killed. The men getting killed, folks. That's what this is talking about. Women are going to be seeking refuge under any man they find. It's not about somebody. There's not going to be no weddings and all this when all this breaks out. People are going to be looking for a man to protect them from the war. Saying, listen, you don't got to do nothing for me. I'll come and help. Whatever y'all got to do, take me in to be protected through this war. That's the real breakdown of this scripture, folks.
If I can read 3 and 25.
Yeah, let's read 3 and 25 to give you the context. This ain't talking about concubine time, where some guy is flexing with 7 women on his arm. It ain't talking about that, folks. Everything we're talking about where man and woman cannot see eye to eye, I'm going to tell you right now, folks, it will lead to this. This is what Satan's plan was from the beginning, to have man and woman at total odds at each other to get rid of the majority of men left in the earth, if not kill them all off. Let's read it. 3 and 26, right?
25.
Read it.
Thy men shall fall by the sword.
Thy what?
Thy men shall fall by the sword.
Let me grab it here. 3 verse 25. Thy men shall fall by the sword. Read.
And thy mighty men in the war.
And the mighty men in the war. Read.
And her gates shall lament and mourn.
So we're going to be crying because all of the men have been targeted. All of our protectors are dead. Read.
And she being desolate shall sit upon the ground.
She shall sit upon the ground. The women left are going to be crying with no protectors. That's the near future. That's the near future. And guess what? Now we understand what the reproach is in the 4th chapter. The next verse. The next verse, next chapter, it says what?
And in that day.
And in that day, what day? The day the men are scarce. The day after all the men are dead. Folks, they've already cultivated a society to accept what? A climate to accept this world without men. Even in the out life right now at night, it's women going out together. It's all women with no men. They've already set the stage for this through a new optic that have never existed before our current time. A new optic. It's normalized to see all women together in a restaurant and all of that, like we used to see families together in. So they've already adjusted the optics for us to accept a world without men. It starts with the image first. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man. Why? Because men are dead. Read.
Saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name, and to take away our reproach.
To take away our reproach. What is their reproach? There's no men to protect them. So let me put this out there real quick for brothers and especially you sisters. I'm going to tell you, sisters, don't let nobody play you out of position to have you believe that you can be in this world. Okay? You can be in this world and accomplish what this world has to provide without a man. That's straight deception. That's straight deception. Straight out. Don't let nobody trick you into believing you don't need a man. The time I'm talking about that we're reading about today is at the door. Is at the door. And what we have to do, we have to now go into God's design according to position. All the way. Man, according to what God's purpose is with him, and the woman. Because the men that'll be left, rarely, I'm going to tell you, the rare gold of Ophir, those men, these are men who have sustained because the Most High protected them. The Most High have protected them, folks. With that, that concludes our lesson for today. If you have any questions, you can text. I can answer those real quick. And I'll open up the line if y'all would like to discuss more on this particular topic next Wednesday. All right. I want to show this real quick because I didn't have a chance to do it yesterday on Patreon. We tore it out on the streets. I want to show this real quick. The exact sheet we tore out on the street. I want to show y'all this real quick. And thank you, loyal Patreonies. Y'all got a complete street speaking. We haven't done that in a while. But we're going to be out there more often in Philadelphia. So some of you can come join us sometimes as we help our people through the darkness here in Babylon. Here, we got to help our people through the darkness here. I want to show y'all this real quick before our particular, before the class concludes. Let me get this. I told people years ago and they didn't want to believe me. They thought they was telling us in our neighborhoods for years that it was diabetes causing the amputations when it comes to the foot and all that. But then the FDA, this is FDA information. This is FDA information. FDA.gov, drugs, drug safety. So this is from the FDA's website. FDA removes boxed warning about risk of leg and foot amputations for the diabetes medicines. And here are the medicines right here that they've been prescribing our families. Talking about destroying the men. We thought it was diabetes to why it leads to amputations. Based on our review of a new clinical trial. And folks, I found this information that was let loose through the FDA in what? 2017. This is how they got us, folks. This is how they got the men. And this is how they're getting other people to replace us by getting rid of us through these diagnoses. This information is an update to the FDA drug safety communication. FDA confirms increased risk of leg and foot amputations with the diabetes medication canagliflozin. It's Envacamet and Envacamet XR. See that right there? For those who don't know, these amputations came from the drug itself. And we were conditioned to believe that what? The diagnosis, just diabetes by itself, leads to them chopping your leg off and chopping your foot. And I seen this because after a person get amputated, you know what I noticed? I noticed they don't live long after that. So here it is. The hospitals get paid for all these surgeries for each time, chopping people up before they put them in a box. Some of the information I shared online. I wanted to put that out there. Again, this is not the forum for a man or a woman to talk about their spouse. If you're in the church, you go to counsel for that. Right? But all in all, it's like this. Men, stand in your authority the Most High have given you. Never get emasculated by a woman. When I say that, always hold your ground concerning the authority God has given you. Okay? Once you relegate that authority, she can no longer respect you. Okay? That's a man. And again, as a man, you don't have to force a woman to do anything. If she's contrary to you, guess what? You be down with the Most High and let her do what she have to do without fighting against her or anything. Go ahead. You can't force a grown adult to do right or try to use Bible scriptures. So while God said you need to respect and do something for me, it doesn't work like that. Okay? If she's not doing it out of the kindness of her heart and doesn't respect you, guess what? She don't care what the Bible says. Now you must operate accordingly. It's you must operate accordingly now. I'm going to do what the Most High say. Guess what? If she want to be with me, hey, that's on her. But I'm not going to lower my expectations with the Most High to be with her. Okay? If she can find something better, okay, knock yourself out. I'm going to tell you, man, when you grovel and cry, oh my God, let's make it work. Let me tell you, they don't respect you even more. They want a man who's going to stand 10 toes down with the Almighty. A man of strength that will make it with or without them. Why do you think women, you say women get with men who really don't care about them and all of that. And you wonder, well, why would she want to be with that guy? Because he's showing strength. He's showing her, listen, I'm going to be down and I'm going to do what I want to do regardless of you. So men don't grovel. Women must fall in order. If you got a man that ain't doing right, you pray to the Almighty. He's a man that what? Just say he's an unbelieving man. You pray to the Most High for him, but still do the things to help meet him with how God expects you to relate to him as a man. Okay, as long as he's not harming you or nothing, you can still do your wifely duties for him and all of that. And if he isn't right, believe it or not, the Most High is going, in due time, the Most High will move him out of the way. Okay? All right. With that, may the Most High be with us. Say, prayed up, sin not. We have to get ready for the academy tomorrow. Have a pleasant evening. And thank you, brothers and sisters, again for all your support. We love you. May the Most High stay with you. Say, prayed up, sin not. We will soon see Zion. And yes, we are the children of Israel. And we are back. Thank you, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Shalom. Stick with the Almighty. It's going to be great. Feast of Tabernacles is coming.
Asha in Colombia, Ruben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. That's who we be. We be Judah, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians, Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zabulon,